Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive.
Glad to be here.
Before we jump in, if you want to understand how two 24-year-old rookies are currently threatening to completely derail the career of one of the greatest all-black playmakers we've ever seen, you need to hit subscribe to Rugby Obsession right now.
You really do, because things are getting very interesting.
So interesting, because today we are looking at the rapidly shifting landscape of New Zealand's All Blacks fly half position.
Right, the famous number 10 jersey.
Exactly. And, with Dave Rennie recently appointed as head coach to replace Scott Robertson, former All Black Ant Strachan has been highlighting this fascinating changing of the guard. Strachan played 11 tests back in the early 90s, so he knows a thing or two about the pressure at this level.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the slate is entirely clean now. Whenever a new head coach steps into that room, especially after a departure like Robertson's, the established pecking order is essentially torn up.
Yeah, which brings us to the hook of today's deep dive. We have two 24-year-old rookies tearing up Super Rugby Pacific right now, and they are creating a massive, massive conundrum for established star Damian McKenzie.
They really are. But honestly, as a fan or a coach, having too much talent is the best kind of problem a team can have.
For sure. It's a great problem, but it's still a problem. But before we get into McKenzie's side of the dilemma, you as the listener need to know exactly who is applying all this pressure.
Right. We have to look at the young guys.
Yeah. Let's start with Josh Jacomb over at the Chiefs, who is actually McKenzie's own teammate. The dynamic at that club right now is wild.
It's unbelievable, really.
So Jacomb starts the first 3 Super Rugby matches while McKenzie rests, right?
Yeah.
Then McKenzie comes back, and he orchestrates this huge 57-24 win over Moana Pacifica. But Jacomb doesn't just quietly fade into the background.
Not at all.
Right. Because then the Chiefs travel to Canberra, they lose 33-24 to the Brumbies, and the very next week, they bring Jacomb back as the starting fly half for a 24-14 win over the Western Force.
And they push McKenzie to fullback to do it.
Exactly. Pushing a star like that out of his primary position. And then Jacomb also starts in a massive 42-14 win over the Waratahs.
You know, that move by the Chiefs speaks volumes about trust.
Oh, totally.
They didn't just throw Jacomb back in because of an injury crisis. They fundamentally altered their entire backline geometry to accommodate his specific brand of game management.
Wow, yeah. And it's not just Jacomb making waves. Over at the Hurricanes, you've got Ruben Love having an absolute breakout season.
Yeah, Love has been phenomenal.
Especially since he had to overcome those early season injuries to really shine. But it culminated in this superb all-around performance in a 42-19 victory over the Blues.
Right. And Anne Strachan made a really brilliant observation regarding why Love is thriving so much right now.
Okay, what's the theory?
Well, according to Strachan, Love benefits massively from playing alongside Cameron Roigard.
Oh, right.
Because you have Roigard operating as arguably the country's biggest scrum half threat right now. The inside defenders are terrified of him.
So they freeze up.
Exactly. They hesitate. And that buys Love these extra crucial milliseconds to scan the field, read the defensive shapes, and utilize his kicking game. Plus, you have coaches like Clark Laidlaw and Jason Holland who are heavily investing in Love's development at the number 10 spot.
Okay, I hear that, but I want to push back on this a little bit for you listening at home.
Sure.
It's like, think of a quarterback playing behind an elite offensive line, right? Or maybe a basketball point guard who's paired with a dominant center.
Yeah, that makes sense.
When your partner demands double teams, the game naturally slows down for you. So I have to ask, does Love's success say more about his own raw talent, or is it simply the Roigard effect making him look good?
That's a totally fair question. Isolating a player's individual value from their partner is always tricky. But Strachan is adamant that Love is the real deal.
Okay, so he has the raw tools.
Yes. While Roigard definitely creates the space, Love has this incredible dual-threat ability to take the line on himself. That proves he's not just a passenger. He can punish the defense for that hesitation.
Right, so he's not just standing deep and distributing.
Exactly. He's challenging them physically.
Well, with Strachan going so far as to say Love and Jacomb are his 2 10s right now, it brings us squarely to the veteran. What does this mean for Damian McKenzie, the guy who shared fly-half duties with Bowden Barrett in 2024 and 2025?
It means he's in a really tough spot.
It really does. And hey, before we break down the exact problem with McKenzie's game, a quick reminder to subscribe to Rugby Obsession. And we want to hear from you. Drop a comment right now and tell us, who do you think should wear the black number 10 jersey?
Yeah, we'd love to read those comments.
So let's detail this conundrum Strachan identified. Because Damian McKenzie is undeniably brilliant, right? But his style has a very specific rhythm to it.
It does. And Strachan's critique is really interesting here. He says McKenzie is absolutely devastating when a game breaks open.
Like in transition or off a turnover.
Exactly. When the structure dissolves into chaos, there is nobody better. But he struggles in the first 20 to 25 minutes of tight test matches.
The early arm wrestle.
Right, because in that opening quarter, you are required to play strictly within systems and structures. And that's just not his natural inclination.
You know, it reminds me of a super sub in soccer or like a change-up pitcher in baseball. You don't necessarily start the game with them, but when you bring them in, they completely change the dynamic.
That's a great way to look at it. Strachan actually compared McKenzie to the legendary former utility player Mark Ellis.
Oh, wow. Mark Ellis.
Yeah, someone who possessed incredible natural footballing instinct and could slot in anywhere to cause havoc.
But here's my question. If you're Damian McKenzie, an elite competitive athlete, you probably despise the utility tag.
Oh, without a doubt.
If he goes to the coach and insists, I just want to be the 10, period, is he fighting a losing battle against his own natural instincts?
I think he is. Because look at his own club team. With a traditional fly half like Jacomb sitting right there on the Chiefs, executing the system flawlessly, it's incredibly hard for McKenzie to demand exclusive rights to the 10 jersey.
That makes total sense. Your club coach literally shifts you to fullback to fit the 24-year-old at fly half.
Exactly. It completely undermines his leverage.
So connecting this individual player form to the broader organizational shift, how does the new All Blacks coaching staff view this puzzle?
Well, this is where it gets really compelling.
Because of the Neil Barnes connection, right?
Yes. Neil Barnes coming in as the new All Blacks assistant coach under Dave Rennie is a massive factor.
For you listening, Barnes is crucial here. From what the source material tells us, Barnes is widely known as a quote-unquote detail man.
He is. He focuses heavily on technical skills and structural precision. And crucially, and this is the big detail, Barnes has previously coached Jacomb at Taranaki and the Chiefs.
Oh, man. So there's a pre-existing trust there.
Exactly. Coaching familiarity is huge. And Barnes's emphasis on technical structure perfectly aligns with the rise of structured playmakers like Jacomb and Love.
Which kind of pushes McKenzie out of that starting orchestrator role.
It really does. It potentially cements McKenzie's role as a versatile bench option.
The 23 jersey.
Right, the 23 jersey, rather than the starting pivot.
Which leaves us with a pretty intense situation heading into the season.
It does. And it leaves me with a final thought for everyone listening to ponder.
Lay it on us.
If McKenzie is formally relegated to the versatile impact player role to make way for these rookies, will his sheer competitive desire to be the main playmaker force a clash of wills with Dave Rennie's new detail-oriented coaching regime?
Ooh, that's the million-dollar question. Will he accept the bench role, or will it cause friction?
I guess we'll find out very soon.
We absolutely will. And to make sure you don't miss any of that fallout, remind yourself to hit that subscribe button for Rugby Obsession. And seriously, jump into the comments, let us know your opinions on this changing of the guard.
Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to you listening to our next episode.